Good morning. Thank you for joining in a short notice. This has been quite a ride. We submitted the grant about a month and a half ago. The state was a little silent about whether we would be getting the money, whether we would be getting some part of it or a portion of it or the whole thing. They reached out Thursday night last week, and they told me verbally that they were likely going to award the whole grant application to the city. And Friday they made it official and sent the award letter. So we started working on implementing it. The deadline is still mid-October, actually October 9th. Although the language in the award and the grant program is that the projects must be nearly or completely done by that date. So there is some flexibility embedded in that language. So I think it'll be to our advantage. Regardless of that, the main reason we're still carrying forward with this is we are getting the money, and the only way we get this money, the only way this is real, is if we install it by that date. Otherwise, they're pulling the money away. And this is money that will be spent in materials and products that stay with the city with the specific intention to reuse them for this type of installation year after year until wherever they wear out or something. So it is a unique opportunity for us to do this no matter the time of year, no matter how crazy it sounds, to be implementing this at the tail end of the year rather than at the beginning where it would make more sense. The idea, like I said, is we're going to be reusing these products, these materials for these purposes when the next season starts, and so on. So taking a step back, this is the Shared Streets and Spaces grant opportunity that the state created in response to COVID-19 for municipalities to be able to assist local businesses, foot traffic, and safety on the road, on the streets. The city submitted a grant with the assistance of Alta Planning, paid by the Solomon Foundation. So the city has not spent money to get to where we are now. It's all been funded by nonprofit until now, and the rest of the money to implement this will be by this fund granted by the state. The city will have some expenses in terms of labor, although the premium time, the overtime addition to whatever we do will be submitted for the grant, or will be included in the grant money. That's the technical stuff about the money and how we got here. We are going to go through the different projects that we're expecting to be implemented. Please understand that there is a few things. There is flexibility on these projects as they were written with a somewhat vague description. So there is much room for modifications, including different products, different materials, changing stuff around, as much as we can interpret while still holding it to be true that it's the same project. Call it mini project. So
I was going to say, if anyone has any questions as we go along, please use the chat function and I will bring it up.
That'd be great. So we focus on two aspects. Oh, and those two aspects are enhanced mobility and placemaking. For a total of we submitted a total of about $280,000. The state only gave us the 238, not because they knocked down projects, but because they knocked down some aspects of all the projects that they were not funding across the Commonwealth, like public art. They were not funding public art. We had about $25,000 included in our submission for public art, and they took that out. They also did some minor adjustments to our fees and overhead stuff related. So going into placemaking, first of all, I believe you've all seen some version of this story map. If not, this is going to be publicly available. We're going to be posting this on social media. We're going to be doing a press release. The mayor will be announcing this on her address on Friday, and it'll be this link with potentially updated images and, as we move along, updated information. So the first one we're talking about is the Lower North Complete Street demonstration. We're reducing the travel lanes to one travel lane per direction. Before I get into the weeds, I need to say, and I forgot, the city has acquired Nick Russo as a consultant to carry this project forward and implement. So Nick is joining us. He'll chime in. Please, Nick, if you have anything else while I go through. Nick was instrumental to get this grant in the state's hands, and he's going to be now the point person for the implementation. So, like I was saying, Lower North Complete Streets from Park Square to Fenn Street, we're going to be including true bike lane protected by parking, and reducing the 2 lanes to 1 lane on the travel lanes on each direction, and adding buffer spaces so that emergency vehicles have no issues with traveling on this corridor. This, like I said, this is the section of the grant that is focused on enhanced mobility. It does have an impact on businesses, of course. We are changing some of the parking spaces into loading zones so that they're the much needed loading zones in the areas where we have dedicated them. These are all treated as pilot programs, and whatever functions of this work the city will try to implement on a permanent basis through the right process. Moving over to the next project, where I'm going to talk about both projects that are listed here. It's number 2 and number 5. So we're going to create a pedestrian corridor from West Street to Center Street over the Government Drive. So that road has a bridge that is restricted right now to a specific weight, no heavy traffic. We're changing that to only be pedestrian traffic, pedestrian travel, no vehicles allowed, to see how that works. It's a pilot again. We know there's heavy use, pedestrian use, as a connector between the downtown and the West Side neighborhood, and this is going to be crucial to provide the safety access for that community. At the same time, we're creating travelway for pedestrians on Center Street, going from the northern part down to the Big Y area and Center Street and West Street intersection. That is for pedestrians and vehicles with a protected travel way for pedestrians. The traffic pattern over by School and Allen will be changed. We're going to introduce a one-way loop with North Street up to School Street, up to Allen, and then Allen up down to Park Square, and that will be a one-way loop. That will allow us to take one of the travel lanes on Allen to be used for additional parking. In this image, you'll see that we're providing this parking so that it's for police use only. What we're trying to do now is, in this submission, we said the School Street police parking identified here in blue will just be normal parking, and Allen Street will just be police parking on one side and regular parking on the other. This has been worked out with the police. This is attempting to resolve one of the issues we have with police parking in this area. We're introducing protected bike lanes on the upper North Street where there are missing ones, so filling the gap there. And this plays well with the next, or project number 7, which is the intersection of, we'll see later. This is the one we spoke about, Government Drive ramp. We're introducing a cycle track on 2 streets. One of them is Columbus Ave, between North and Center Street, Center Street. This one is essentially, for those of you who don't know, cycle track is 2-way bicycle lanes together on one side of the road. We're providing this on the side next to near the Columbus or the Summer Street parking lot, and with the idea of providing, first, demonstrating a cycle track, and second, providing an atmosphere of foot traffic and alternate transportation near the intermodal station. This is the one I was talking about. Yes.
I have a question. A question came in about going back to Allen Street. Is all of Allen Street going to be one way?
No.
Or, okay, just up until.
So if you see here, there is a one-way arrow here where you see the cursor.
Yes.
That's going to be removed. It's just going to be the loop.
Okay.
So from this point, once you're approaching eastbound on School Street, nearing Allen, you can take a left or a right.
Okay, thank you.
So we're creating a protected intersection demonstration on Linden and North and Maplewood. This is going to be tied in with the provided bike lanes north of this intersection with project number 4. This is going to be achieved with flexible posts, paint, and that's it basically. The other area we're providing a cycle track pilot is on Bradford Ave, so similar to the one on Columbus Ave. And then we're moving into placemaking. So before we go there, is there any other questions on enhanced mobility? Awesome, I guess. More questions later, that's fine. It's not, I'm not saying speak now or forever, shut your mouth. So placemaking. Actually, Nick, do you have anything to add on enhanced mobility?
I will circle back at the end, just in case I think of something.
Placemaking. So the idea with this is geared towards providing the spaces so that businesses, the public, restaurants use them as their spaces for the activities that happen during the day, during night. There's ideas tossed around. We're trying to provide with this program the space so that businesses can use them for as their own, with any ideas that businesses may have. It's going to be open as long as we can have them open, and you won't see anything in here that speaks to winter conditions, like heaters, but we are well aware and trying to add heaters to these spaces if we see the potential for further use through colder temperatures. So the first one we are tackling here is over by Bank Row, south of the Park Square. We are creating open space by pushing north the parking area up to closer to the road. The way it's shown right now is what we had submitted. However, DOT was a little concerned with conflict points, so they requested to leave a little bit of room, so not as far north as we're showing. We're going to be, it's still going to be provided. It's maybe not the exact square footage we were thinking. Again, this is going to be enhanced with planters, rubber curb stops, signage. We're going to have tables and chairs with umbrellas, providing bike racks for people to just get here on their bicycles, encourage that, and lighting. And again, this could be a location where we provide space heaters, and we can also carry this through the winter. Moving on, the next one, Market Street. This is essentially a parklet or another one of those spaces like the one on Bank Row. It's not specifically on the street, although Market Street is technically a street, but it's not seen as one for many reasons. We're going to be taking this space, specifically the space closest to North Street. If you're familiar with this one, there's a loading dock on the side of the building. From that loading dock north, we're attempting to take that space for this purpose, and we're including planters, tables, including some shade and decorative lighting. First Street lot, this is going to be serving some of the restaurants in that area. This is going to be on the Fenn Street side, on the next to the building where Freddy's used to be. I think there's a different restaurant there now starting, right?
Yes.
Same type of treatment, planters, tables, chairs. In this case, we are saying that tables and chairs are supplied by restaurants. That's not final. We can always move things around and do things differently than what we have in here. It's very, like I'm saying, this is flexible, and we can work with any issues, any concerns as we move along.
Ricardo,
So,
we have a question.
Yes.
About the heaters. The question is, are we concerned about the environmental impact of trying to keep outdoor spaces heated, or is the feeling that economic benefits outweigh the energy use? In
this case, seeing that this may even be just a pilot, we're not really considering that right now. It may be that we keep track of the energy use and we use that for future more permanent uses to take into consideration.
Thank you.
Definitely something we would be tracking.
I think there are good solutions too. Go ahead. Sorry.
Seeing that it is a pilot, I'm not putting this as the driving concern or driving factor to use or not use.
I think there are good solutions too for just like manually activated heaters that aren't just out all day, running all day, heating nothing. You know, they can do like a 15-minute timer. You push a button and the heater light turns on while you're there, and then shuts off automatically too. So I think that those are something to look at for more efficient types of installations.
Okay, so moving over to Melville Street. So a word I learned from Nick, Woonerf, Play Street. Nick, if you want to expand on what Woonerf style Play Street is, be my guest, because this is up your alley.
Sure. No pun intended, alley. Yeah, so basically a Woonerf comes from Dutch planning. It's basically a living street, like a place that you travel through and you also live in, like an outdoor living room. It's accessible to all modes of transport, foot, bike, vehicle, but it's very, very slow. Basically like a parking lot. Like you wouldn't travel any faster down the street than you would through, the Walmart parking lot aisle or something. It's more meant to be just to get you like a driveway, basically, like an enhanced driveway. You can pull up, you can park, but it's very slow. Kind of like the picture shows, it's a little bit winding to keep you slow, which can be achieved by, say, alternating the parking on either side of the street or using more hard features like planters, curbs, that sort of thing, which is still not final yet on what we'll actually use. But I think it'd be great to see this street become like an outdoor playground almost for the YMCA, the CYC, the Boys and Girls Club. Get some seating out there, tables, to play like table games, to play outdoor, basketball, hopscotch, that sort of stuff. Just make it a whole shared space for this sort of like downtown center for youth. So it's just been recently paved. I think it's a great opportunity to use like this fresh, new, smooth, empty space to sort of redesign it as we see, as we.
So I think
think.
one of the things, if we are successful at this, it'll be by the measure of how many people actually go through here for a pass-through road instead of just to pick up their kids, for instance. So we're trying to create a road that a type of street that basically the only cars that are going to be there are either to park there or to pick up a kid at the time at drop-off or pickup time. And that's it. Even that, we can speak. I've been in contact with briefly, and I owe a meeting with the Boys and Girls Club about this. But they are expecting, since we paved the road recently, they are expecting that we do a crosswalk markings the way that it was before. We're not going to do it the same way, although it's going to be probably larger with more colorful, more colorful. We have some contracts for line painting using Ruby Lake colors that are bright and durable with good traction, so it's not an issue with wet conditions. So this is one of the projects that we have. I have good faith in this project as an introduction to the city of Pittsfield, that if we make this a successful one, this is something that we can start replicating in some other parts of downtown Pittsfield. So,
Ricardo?
yes.
Question. How far will this go? Does this go to the intersection of Maplewood or all the way to First Street?
I believe it'd be north to Pearl Street, right?
So some components of it will end at North Pearl, from north to North Pearl. But it's the section from North Pearl to First Street is also very unique in this scenario, and we can definitely include some aspects of it in there, like creating parking on both sides instead of what we have now. And I say that, and I doubt myself not knowing exactly if we have parking on both sides or not. But what I'm saying is some components could be extended. Majority of it will be from north to North Pearl.
Thank you.
I am confirming that right now because I need to. So our regulations do show no parking at all, except for a small section near North Street. So if we create parking on both sides, it will only reduce the travel speeds. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's the section, that's the part of this project that may extend up to First Street. So a lot of you may have seen already some barriers we installed at the corner intersection with South Street with West Housatonic. We did that as a pilot to see if we finally did get rid of the trucks hitting the corner. We have been successful at that while not impacting traffic. There has been we haven't done the counts yet, but qualitatively, we have not seen a traffic impact in that intersection with through traffic. So what we're trying to do now is getting that space more inviting for pedestrian use. And of course, there's a pizza place there, South Street Pizza Place, and they can use it for that. We can create that space for other businesses in that corner to use for to put their things if they choose to. Again, we're providing the space for businesses to use. And I haven't seen, mainly because we haven't told any businesses, hey, you can use that space. But as soon as we say it and as soon as we give them the go-ahead and people start using them, I have a good feeling that businesses will start using the spaces. Now we go into the gateway intersections. This is another one of those sort of vague projects. We have a bunch of things included that we can see how we can make them work at different intersections. The idea with the gateway intersections is to tell people you're approaching a difference in use. So you're getting you're coming from a more higher speed roads, and you're approaching the downtown area. Not only you'll see the difference in the landscape, but you're also seeing a difference in the use, and that's introduced by gateway intersections to set the tone as you go through the downtown area. So the first one is in here is Columbus and North. This one will probably expand to the Sotillion Percep Parks, where we've been talking about creating with this program, providing some type of kiosks so that commerce could happen at different times of the day or night, if there's some sort of benefit to that or interest from the businesses. Pallets Park. So okay, there's more gateway intersections later. So back to the parks and parklets. Pallets Park is one of I think the only one in here in the projects that requires the city work with the owner of the space. We own the sidewalk, obviously. The actual Pallets Park section where the arc is owned privately, and we've been in contact, and I believe they're in the call today to get some sort of agreement. This is going to be, we're providing picnic tables, seating, landscaping with planters. We're providing solar lighting, shade. I've been, in talking with the owner. There's concern about liability in terms of the unevenness of the sidewalk. We may even go into using the funds to create better surface and stuff like that. So That's this one. Going back to Gateway intersections, this one is on North Street, near, I believe, Summer Street. So this is more of the corridor. So providing the same type of structures that we talked about in the other Gateway intersection. Next, we go to Wahconah and North. This would be by BMC, not the upper one. Same thing, same flexible posts, paint, shading structures. And then we have the Capitol Square Gateway intersection. So the idea is to, again, have these be for approaching streets into the downtown area. You're approaching a different type of environment. And back to Parklets, we're including Parklets on McKay Street, near the on the east side of McKay Street, and on North Street with Bradford and Linden.
Near Methuselah.
Say that again?
That one's near Methuselah, I think, is a landmark.
This one is near Methuselah. North Street by Marketplace and Beacon Cinema. On North Street by Brooklyn's Best on the other side of the road. Around Dunham Mall. This one could be expanded if we choose to actually include Dunham Mall, which is owned by the city. So we could spill over into that space if we choose to. This is in front of Palace Park to provide an expanded space, not just the sidewalk and the privately owned space, but also the space in front on the road. This is in front of the Wright Building and by Liberty Pizza. This one is the one next to Methuselah. I think, Nick, how many do we have? Like 7 Parklets?
Sounds right.
7 or 8. And one near Dottie's and on East Street by Otto's. So these Parklets, taking a minute to explain, Parklets are going to take they will take some parking space, 1 or 2 spaces. We will be putting them as a pilot. We could move them. Now, that's if we take them down, it's to move them for the next season and not include them if they didn't work, if they were not of use where we located them. If the business that was nearby or businesses that were nearby did not like it there, we can certainly talk and decide to move them and reinstall them in different locations. We have been monitoring parking on North Street and the downtown in general, and we think that Parklets in occupying parking spaces will be supportive and work with the parking. The way parking works, as you may know, is in this type of parking where we have pay as you park is by demand. If we reduce the amount of spaces, there's going to be more demand created, and for the parking spaces that remain in the downtown area. And right now it seems supportive because the use is down from normal. And normally at this time of year, the use always goes down from the summer. So we expect that to be the same this year. That is placemaking in a nutshell. As you can see, we're going to be very busy the next month working to get all these projects in place. Most of the work will be done by our labor, our guys at Highway or some guys from other parts of the department, my department, and the direction from Nick Russo and myself, with guidance and coordination with all the businesses that these affect. So, any more questions? Now's a good time.
There is a question for you. How will the placemaking areas be cleaned and maintained?
So we would like to get some sort of coordination, buy-in from businesses that actually would like to use those spaces to basically be the caretakers of the spaces, put the chairs in whenever the business is open, you know, take them out when it's closed, or some sort of coordination between businesses if it's on used by different businesses. The spaces that are more of a general use by other users, like maybe Market Street or by Dunham Mall, those we will be we have regular maintenance folks working in the downtown area employed by the city. This is different from the streetscape. So my plan is to use some of those resources to maintain those spaces on a good state, clean.
Thank you. Any other questions, folks? You can always send questions to me, and I will.
Yes. So I said it before, but this is going to be, first of all, this is all in the interest of introducing pilot programs, piloting things in our downtown, and we're doing it with money given to us free. We're not spending much on this, and I think in many other places in the state and in the country, a lot of these things have worked, and they normally work, and people use them, make use of the space, restaurants use them, businesses use them, and I'm very excited about implementing these. We're not unique in making these happen anywhere in the Commonwealth or in other places of the country or the world. This is happening everywhere, and we're going to be successful as much as the businesses, the business community, and restaurants use these spaces. So I'm excited to see how this comes along.
Is there a particular plan for loitering for folks that aren't supposed to be in the spaces but are?
So that word loitering is very tricky because loitering is not a criminal offense or anything like that in the Commonwealth. Specific activities that people do may be criminal in nature, and those should be addressed. The first thing, if those types of activities that are illegal in nature should be immediately notified to the police, and the police will respond. I've seen it in action, not even by my own reporting, but others while I'm in the downtown area. I know there's issues with that, but this is going to be, you know, let's see how it goes. For the most part, what I can say is, as much as we can use these spaces, the more people using the spaces, the better it is. The more eyes on the street, the better it is. The more foot traffic, the better it is. I think for everything, not just for the use of the space in itself, but for creating an environment that is inviting for families, children, and adults of all ages.
Yeah, I would echo that. The best way to dilute any kind of loitering or antisocial activities that you might see is to keep them full, keep eyes out there, like you said. Come out, visit, think of some programming that you'd want to see there, and keep them full, keep them active.
Thank you. We have lots of good, nice comments. People are happy that we are sharing this, and great news for the city. And we've got some partners. Great,
that's good to hear. It's like I said, I'll say it again, and I'll sound like a recorder on a repeat. We need the downtown community to come together to get these places to good use. You know, even if we didn't do something even if we did something this time around that didn't work, the best thing to do is fail, you know, and know that we failed and regroup and do it differently next time. This is money we're getting. This is money that we'll put to good use. And if it didn't work, we can just rearrange the Legos and put them in a different order. That's my goal. I'll stop there.
Thank you. If anyone else has questions, please feel free to email me at info@downtownpittsfield.com. This is the first step in notifying our downtown businesses of what's going on. There'll be a lot more information coming soon, immediately, since we have to move fast with this project, and we appreciate.
Yes. Cheryl, let me add a few things too in terms of the next steps. So we're going to be, the first thing is ordering materials. We're working this week on getting materials ordered so that we have that coming. Ordering services like line painting. We have a contract with a line painter already, so that'll be easy. It's just scheduling them. What we need to do now is get the specific communities or types of businesses together to help. I see a question from Jen about how she can help or how people can help. That's a great question. I think it's reaching out to Cheryl, reaching out to myself or Nick or Karen, and we can all come together, get some work. I think we're going to be working nights. We're going to be working weekends as a community. We're going to be getting things done, and the more hands on the street, the better. The more visible we are while we do this, the more traction we'll take too. So let's expect more communications the rest of this week and next week.
Thank you, Ricardo and Nick.
Thank you all.
I think that's it for the moment. We'll be in touch, and feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you.
Have a good one.